In this demo, I'm going to show you how to isolate and roll back malicious or mistaken changes to critical hybrid Active Directory identities. In short, somebody messed with an on-premise identity or user account. That change was replicated to the cloud and now something isn't working. This could indicate either somebody has breached that account or there's just been a mistake made. In both cases, you need to be able to recover from that. So the first thing I'm going to do is sort of lay out a scenario. So we have the director of engineering. Suddenly that person can't access resources and they're getting a login failure. Um, so the first thing I typically would do is try to talk to the person, figure out exactly what they're seeing to make sure it wasn't a user error. But then the very next thing I'm going to do is probably go into Active Directory to see if that account exists. Well, this actually is an extra step for me. The user I'm looking for is named Albert Einstein. He's a real genius. And I'm seeing that in Active Directory, Albert Einstein doesn't exist. And I'm going to jump down here to Office 365 and just do a quick search, see if there's an Albert Einstein there. And look at that, there's no Albert Einstein there. So obviously something's wrong with this account. I just need to now go figure out what it is. So this particular tool that I'm using is called Chaosoft Administrator. This is our day-to-day granular delegation and least privilege tool. The tool that I'm going to use to protect and roll back changes to any identity or group or anything like that is actually called Guardian. So I'm going to come up to the very top. I'm just going to switch over to Guardian. And on the right-hand side, I have a little chart, and it shows me just 7 minutes ago, something actually transpired. So I can actually click to view all changes, but that actually just takes me over to change history and then shows me what's going on. So I'm going to click on change history, and immediately I notice that there's something going on with Albert Einstein right here. I don't know the time frame. Maybe it's something happened overnight. Could be yesterday. The person could have been on vacation. So I don't really know when it happened. So I'm going to actually try to just look to see all changes made to that object so that I can very quickly isolate what's going on with that account. So I'm going to look for Albert. This is a list of all the accounts that we have in our database, which is basically a big backup of all your user identities, groups, conditional access policies, applications, etc. I'm going to go ahead and click on Albert Einstein, and that now sets a view so I can actually see all the changes that happened to Albert. Now, I see that on the third row down, there's a delete happening, and I see another one happening here. So how do I know what's going on here? Well, the Albert without the cloud is the on-premise legacy Active Directory account. The Albert with the cloud is, guess what? That's the Azure AD account or Office 365 account. And just to go one step further, I can actually see who did this. So the object was deleted by KOadmin. That's the account that was created. That's our service account for our administrator tool. And then I see that I have my synchronization account, which synchronized the delete. So this is truly a hybrid deletion, right? Somebody deleted the account on premise. Don't know if it's malicious. Don't know if it's a mistake yet. And then I see that it's also been replicated to the cloud. The cool part here is I don't have to be smart enough to know that I have to restore this deletion. I could actually come up and restore that deletion. Any deletions I can restore, right? So let's make this a little bit even more interesting. So here's a list of all of the different things that I can have in terms of actions that we have in our database, right? So there's delete objects. So just narrow this down even further to isolate down exactly what's going on. There were two deletes, one created or done by a user, the other one actually done by the replication service. So I'd probably choose that one. But like I said, it doesn't matter. Our system is smart enough, and because we manage or we monitor changes on both on-premise and cloud, we actually can restore either of these, and it'll do the full hybrid restoration for me. So I'm selecting the cloud-based one because maybe I don't know, and I just come up and click Restore. And it says, hey, by the way, it's going to execute the restore action. And also, by the way, it's going to do a full hybrid restore in Legacy Active Directory. So I'm going to go ahead and click Yes. And what you're going to see is a series of jobs at the top right become successful as it starts to restore those. So I have a little icon on my refresh button. Now it's no longer just delete object. I also need to add undelete object here, right? And there it is. I just refreshed and you can see, hey, it's already started working on the undeletion. Now let's get rid of all these things here just for a moment. Let's clear those out. We're still looking at Albert Einstein. So you'll see it undeleted the object, it restored the group properties, it restored all of the, groups and then the group properties. And now it's actually executing the Azure Active Directory Connect service with a incremental update so that in a few moments, it'll actually undelete the account in Office 365 or in the Azure Recycle Bin. Now, if either of these accounts were hard deleted, we will reconstruct those accounts. Now, unfortunately, with reconstruction on the AD side, well, fortunately with that on that side, there's some special things we can do to continue to grant access to that user, even though it's a brand new user account. In the cloud, however, that isn't possible. So there may need to be some work done to restore access to that account. I'm going to pause the video for a moment to give Azure AD Connect time to do its thing and show the undelete of that object when I come back. Now I've clicked refresh and lo and behold, there is the undeleted object on the cloud side, and you see that it restored groups and some other items. Add to role. It had a role membership. That's good. And then it's going to update properties. Now, we're actually in the process of correlating who performed that task. So it may take a minute or two to come up with who the initiator was, but that's okay. The object is restored. Now I can go into this console in a couple of minutes and it'll bring back the initiator by coordinating, reading the the Azure AD event data, and then figuring out the actual way it was restored. So now if I come back over to Chaosoft Administrator and I search, I'll see there's Albert Einstein, fully licensed as he was prior to this. So Chaosoft Guardian is a true hybrid solution. And that hybrid solution allows me to manage my restorations, protection, and management across both on-premise, Legacy Active Directory, and cloud, Azure Active Directory, Exchange, etc. Now, the management tool we have, Chaosoft Administrator, is the same thing. It allows me to have granular delegation, scoped-based, least privilege access to perform administrative tasks without granting native permissions across both Legacy AD and Azure AD and Office.